Okay, so you've got your papers all divided up. You're ready to go. And like I said, we're going to jump around from page to page because the first thing you'll learn about watercolor painting is that it's all about timing. Miles? Where's Miles? Miles Willardson? Not here. I haven't done attendance yet. I'll get there. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so your brushes are also going to be a little bit stiff. If they're brand new, they're going to be a little bit stiff. And so you have to soak them in the water a little bit. So kind of swish them around in your water to soften it up. Usually when you buy a brand new brush, they put this chemical that dissolves in once you put it in water to keep it nice and sharp. So remember the rule, though, about working with your brushes is you'll never just leave them sitting in your cup of water. Okay? When you leave your brush sitting in the cup of water, first of all, it's going to bend the tip of your brush over time, so you don't have a nice sharp point. You always want to make sure that your brush stays at this really beautiful sharp point. Okay? A sharp tool is a safe tool, right? Any shop teachers tell you that? Mine did. So same thing with a brush. A sharp brush is a safe brush or a good brush. If you leave it in the cup sitting over time, your handle will absorb all kinds of moisture, and then your handle will absorb all kinds of moisture and then expand, and then when it dries out, it'll shrink. And so expand, shrink. The paint will start to chip off your brush, and this metal part called the ferrule will actually come detached, and your bristles will start to fall out. So clean out your brush, and then just set it down next to your cup. Okay? Don't leave it in there for long periods of time. Okay? I have a really bad habit of doing it, but I'll gently remind you if you forget. Okay? So here's your watercolor trays. You should have a nice variety of colors to work from. Try to get a decent quality of paint, but the paint can be really expensive. So I like to start out by just getting some of my colors wet so that they're ready to go. So I'll just take my brush and kind of put a couple drops of water on some of the colors I think I'm going to use. I do not leave it sitting so my paint colors are always wet. Okay? I had students do that a couple years ago, and their entire palette, they opened it up one day, they came home after the weekend, and their paint box was full of water, and it was covered in mold. All of their paints had molded, and we had to throw it all away. So don't do that. These colors are about $5 a piece. So this is a good investment here. But if you, for any reason, you run out of colors, then let me know and I'll just refill them for you. But most of these are new, so you should have lots of color. Does anybody need a painting box? Didn't get one yet? Okay, I need to get you one here. Why don't you grab that 96 back there, and you can use that one. And we'll get you going. So you guys could do this while I'm working on it, but I want you to watch to see how these techniques are done, okay? The first one I'm going to show you is really quite fun. What I want you to do is label them. This first one I'm going to show you is called wet on wet. So write with a pencil or a pen what technique you're doing so I can tell you know what you're doing. And wet on wet is a really fun way to paint because this is where watercolor kind of does its own thing. There's a couple of different ways of doing it. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to pick up some paint on your brush. Okay, put it down on the area that you want to paint. And you pick up multiple colors. So I picked up some blue, maybe some green. And I just put the paint down and just let it run and do its own thing. Okay? You can get water and just some plain water. And that also works as well. And you just let the color just blend all on its own, which is a really fun way to paint. So you can get an idea of what the colors look like when you put them down. Some colors are really heavy and don't mix very well or very much when you do this, but other colors will spread really quickly. Okay? So try to mixing a couple different colors. And you can take your brush here and just kind of tap the paint down and just let it start to run on its own. But the idea is you have to do this while it's all still wet. You can't let it dry and then go back over top of it, because then it won't blend in really cool, fun ways. Okay, so you want to do this all at once. Let it all kind of blend together. Try getting some thick paint, some thinner paint, and just let the paint work its magic. Okay? So we're going to let this dry before you work next to it, because there's a lot of water here. If your paint starts to puddle because you put lots of water on, you can see this edge over here. I'm starting to get some paint to collect along that edge. I'm going to clean my brush out and kind of squeeze the tip of it with my fingers, just to kind of squeeze the water out of it, and just touch that and soak up that little puddle right there. So if the water starts to get out of control and puddle up in places you don't want it to go, then you can use a paper towel will work, or a dry brush. You can come and just soak that part up. Okay, so this is wet on wet.